All right. Well, welcome to English for today. I just want to point out what we're doing today. So first you have a reading check. You also have an annotation check. So you're going to want to go in and make sure that you complete that by taking a picture of your notice and note annotations and submitting them to the assignment. After the reading check, we'll discuss 18 to 29. I'm going to explain the ACE assignment. We're going to complete the A and the C. And for homework tonight, you will read pages 29 to 34. Tomorrow, you'll be reading 34 to 39. I do have a book talk link below in case you want to listen to that as a review. So right now, what I'd like you to do is take a picture of your two notice and note annotations between pages 18 and 29 and submit them here to this annotation check. When you finish that, I'd like you to hit pause on this and click on this, pages 18 to 29 reading check. Take that reading check, then come back to this video. So hit pause now and take your reading check. Next, you're going to open that imagery assignment. That is the imagery ACE assignment. You should have completed this part already. We discussed this the other day. You should have completed this, and you should have some really good examples of imagery that has to do with animals, maybe something that has to do with trees or leaves, sun, light, water, and sound. What was the purpose of that imagery? Okay, we're going to use that to write our ACE response. So an ACE response is something that you're going to be doing in your world history classes this year. You're going to be doing this in your English class, your literacy class if you have that, something that's not going to go away. You're going to do it again in 10th grade, probably continue to do it throughout. So what is it? Well, an ACE response is just a way of analyzing something in paragraph form. So for this ACE response, you will be writing a paragraph that analyzes the imagery in chapter 1. Now, this continues to say chapter 1. If you have something that you just think is great from chapter 2, I'm fine with you using that. Just make sure you use MLA format as you're showing these things to me, okay? It's not separate paragraphs for each image. This is a one paragraph deal, and I'm going to walk you through it piece by piece. You're going to be making a broad statement about imagery in chapter 1 for your topic sentence. You're going to use specific examples for your supporting details, and you're going to cite them correctly using MLA format, which I'll review in just a minute. We're going to discuss the author's purpose. Why did he use those images? What was the purpose of it? Did it create a mood? Did it juxtapose something? Did it add to the atmosphere? Did it emphasize something about the character? Use the answers to those questions to help you analyze the importance of images in chapter 1. So here's the A, your answer. You're going to tell me what was the purpose of the imagery in chapter 1 or chapter 2. So I've given you some things here. Right here, your box right here is empty. This is me doing some brainstorming. You may use this sentence. You just need to make sure you do all the parts right. So listen carefully. A, your topic sentence. This should make a broad statement about imagery and its purpose. So I said 1 to 2 sentences. I decided for my first sentence, I want to describe what imagery is. So imagery is a literary device which describes characters or settings using the 5 senses. That's what it is. So I described it. Next sentence, I want to say the purpose of the imagery in this book, in chapter 1, what we read. So you can do lots of different things here. Authors use imagery in order to create a mood or to tell the reader something interesting about a character. So maybe you want to use all that imagery Steinbeck uses when he's describing Lenny, right? He uses lots of animalistic imagery to describe how Lenny moves. What does that tell us about his character? So you could do that, or you could do something that has to do more with nature. Totally up to you. So my next sentence that I wrote here is, Steinbeck uses imagery to create the mood blank of Mice and Men. So I'm using my topic sentence here is focusing on the mood. You do not have to do the mood. You can say Steinbeck uses imagery to tell the reader more about one of the characters, right? And then you could use Lenny as your example. But if you choose to do this one, Steinbeck uses imagery to create the mood of peacefulness in Of Mice and Men, of relaxed in Of Mice and Men, a calm mood, a laid-back mood. What mood do you think it portrays? You're not leaving these little stars here. You are plugging in the mood that you think this is. Make your sentence make sense. If the sentence reads better, Steinbeck uses imagery to create a peaceful mood in Of Mice and Men, then switch the words around. I want it to make sense and I want it to be yours. The other thing I want to point out here is, notice what I did with words Of Mice and Men. You see how that's italicized? That's because the title of books are always italicized. So this is what you want to do with the title of the book. So once you have this section done, I have two sentences. I have the sentence about imagery, and you have to decide, it uses imagery to create what mood in Of Mice and Men, or what's the purpose of it? You tell me. That's what's going to guide your paper. Because next you're going to do part C. This is where you cite your evidence. So in Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, Steinbeck uses imagery when describing Lenny, when describing the clearing that the boys come to, right? What is it? When does he use imagery in the book? And you're going to fill that out. So I wrote, in Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, Steinbeck uses imagery when describing the nature and the clearing where George and Lenny arrived. Okay, I've given you the context. This is when the author did it. Now, what does the author say? The narrator states, and I have to provide the imagery that matches the mood that I put in my topic sentence. So if I'm talking about Lenny and how he's described in animalistic terms, here I have to have a quotation about Lenny in animalistic terms. If I'm doing peaceful mood, here I have to have a quote that shows a peaceful mood in nature. So where these stars are is where I'm going to put my quote. And then here is how you do MLA format. Notice the period is at the end. The page number is here, but it does not say page number. Okay? And I give some more context because I told you you need to have two quotes here. We need two pieces of evidence. So later, he describes the blank when the narrator states blank. So again, if I'm doing peaceful mood, I need another piece of peacefulness. He describes the heron flying off when the narrator states, and then I give the quote about the heron. Okay? Again, you're following MLA format. No period or punctuation here, only the period at the end, the author's name, and the page number. This is all you are doing on the ACE today. All right? So I want you to work on this today until you finish this. You must have two quotes in your C, and the two quotes have to support what you wrote up here. On Wednesday, I'm going to be looking at these during student seminar and putting some notes on it to help you out for Thursday when you write on this some more. Okay? The other thing that we did in class today was we covered some questions about pages 18 to 29 that I thought were important. So if I'm going to be reading some of these questions to you, if you cannot answer one or more of the questions that I go over in just a minute, then you are going to want to go into the Of Mice and Men folder for this week for November 16 to 20, and you are going to want to watch my book talk. It's in this cohort 1 folder for this week, and I put it directly underneath your reading check. So here it is. If I'm getting ready to ask some questions, and if you don't know them, you need to go into the folder for this week and watch this book talk. Now, tonight you're reading, tomorrow you're reading. There's a book talk, pages 29 to 39, so you can watch that before you come to class and take your next reading check. All right? So to recap, I'm going to go over some questions with you in a minute. If you cannot answer them all, you need to watch that book talk. You also need to complete A and C of your ACE. That's what we just went over. You can rewind this video and watch it again, whatever you need to do. Tonight, you are reading pages 29 to 34 and annotating. Make sure that you are doing your annotations. Your 2 notice and note signposts and a literary device are what is required every night. If you see some great direct or indirect characterization, go ahead and note that. Tomorrow, during my class time, you'll read pages 34 to 39. And there's a book talk that covers 29 to 39 if you would like to look at that. Okay? All right, so let's see if I can change this. I can't. Okay, so I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to ask the questions. Ready? First question is, why does Curly react the way he does when he meets Lenny? So think about that. Why does he react the way he does? Is the boss fair? Explain. You had to describe Candy's dog. Candy and his dog are similar to 2 characters in our book. Which 2 characters and why are they similar? What's the connection? I have a question here about characterization. So what type of characterization is this and who does it describe? It says this. Tell you what, know what he done Christmas? Bring a gallon of whiskey right in here and say, drink hearty, boys. Christmas comes but once a year. What type of characterization is this? And who does it describe? How does George describe his and Lenny's relationship when he talks to the boss? Why does he say what he says? Next question. George says ominously, well, no, he better watch out for Lenny. Lenny ain't no fighter, but Lenny's strong and quick, and Lenny don't know no rules. Which signpost could this be an example of? How will it affect the characters? What literary device could this be? Here's another one. A thin young man with a brown face with brown eyes and a head of tightly curled hair. He wore a work glove on his left hand. Is this direct or indirect characterization? Whom does it describe? Describe Curly's wife. Does she have a name? In one word, describe how the boss treats George when they meet. And what does Candy say about guys on a ranch when George accuses him of listening in? All right. So if you couldn't answer one of those questions, go back and look at that book talk. Otherwise, you are on your own to continue working on your A and your C of your ACE response, doing your reading. Make sure you have submitted your annotations for today, and we'll see you later.